Konnichiwa. So today I went to the Japanese dentist and I want to talk about it. So there's a dentist like a 2-minute walk from my house. I'm very lucky. And even though it's that close, I still don't do right and go to the dentist as frequently as I should for my regular maintenance checkup cleanings. Such is life. So here in Japan, they recommend that you go to the dentist for your regular maintenance checkups once every 3 months, which is twice as frequent as is recommended in the States, at least where I live in California. I don't know if that makes a difference, but when I was back home in the States, we go for checkups once every 6 months. So I don't know what that has to do with anything, but that is what my dentist here recommends every time I go, and I never do that. So after I made the appointment today, I looked at my card, and turns out I haven't been in a year and a half. So last time I went was Reiwa 4, Reiwa Yon. So right now I think it's Reiwa 5. So I went January 20th? Yeah, doing wrong. January 20th, Reiwa 4 was when I went, and today is 8月10日. So a clear year and a half later, I've not been going to the dentist. So I've been kind of afraid that I'm going to have a cavity or something, because the last thing I want is to have real dental work done here. But anyways, that didn't happen. So yes, my first checkup in a year and a half. And so I called this morning. Google Maps said they opened at 9. I didn't get up till like 10:30. So I called them at 10:30 and I was like, hey, do you have an appointment open today? Lucky me, they did have one. So my appointment was for 11:40 in the morning, and I finished at 12:15 p.m. So from literally walking in the door to paying and walking out the door took about 35 minutes. So not bad at all. And that's just because I had to do an x-ray as well today, so it took extra time. Anyway, so how it goes. So walk into the dentist office at a little before 11:40, and it's not crowded. You know, it's a tiny little dentist office near my house, so not expected to be high traffic. But I walk in, go to the uketsuke reception, and I give them my card for the dentist place because I've been there before. And they still want your hokensho, which is interesting. I thought because I had made the card, I wouldn't need that. And even when I made the appointment on the phone, she was like, oh, be sure to bring your hokensho. But I always have it on me, but I didn't think they would ask for it because it wasn't my first time, but they did. So I gave them my dentist patient card and then my hokensho, my insurance card. And then within like a minute, the technician was there to take me, and she was like, oh, come this way, dozo. So didn't have to wait in line, no waiting. Everything was very fast so far. So I go there, she takes me to the dentist chair, and then she's like, so because it's been a while, they're so nice, not because it's been a year and a half that you haven't been doing right. She was like, because it's been hisashiburi, we should probably do a rentoge, so an x-ray. If you would like, to update and make sure, there's no issues, because that's part of the checkup. It's important. And so I was like, okay, why not? Let's do it. And so then she took me to the x-ray room. Oh man, I forgot to take a photo of the machines on them. So, the machine is different from the one at my old dentist office in the States. So they're all pretty similar, right? There's this big thing on an arm that you can whir around that the x-rays come out of and take pictures of your skull from different angles, right? So the main difference is in the States, you've got the one thing that takes photos, and they have to come move it to take different photos of different parts of your jaw, right? In the States, they'd make you bite on that thing that was disposable and then just have you hold it there, and then they take a photo from up here and from down here and here and here and maybe here. I remember there being one here. And then that way they'd be able to get a full photo of your, a full picture of your jaw, right? Well, here in Japan, they have a magical, the technologically advanced Japan that we all know and love and think is normal, commonplace in normal life, but actually isn't, because you come here and they're using fax machines. Yeah, that. So here in the dentist, the technological advancement of Japan really shines. They sit you in this seat, and there's a big like machine like this, right? And I don't know exactly, because I don't remember, it's been a while since I did this, but I don't know where the x-rays are coming out of, but there's 2 panels, so it's probably coming out of both sides. And it spins around your head, so they only have to take 1 photo and you can get the full picture of your jaw. And she doesn't have to come back in and like reset it up and go rush and like take the photo and come back and move it and like say don't move and go, you know. Doesn't happen to anyone else. It's not just my dentist. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Fond memories. So she, instead, it's like, I've seen like on the internet at some like optometrists, when you go and get your like eyes checked, there's a big circular thing, and in the middle there's a tiny circle or area, and you sit your chin on that, and then something happens, right? I've seen this before. So that's what it's like for the x-ray at the dentist here at my place anyways. So the big panels are on the side, and there's a little chin rest, and you stick your chin on it, and right here, the little thing that they stick in your mouth in the States, that's usually disposable. Here, it's a little, like, on a little stand, and it sticks out like this. And this part has some, like, a plastic cover on it, so obviously this is the part that goes in your mouth. And so you bite it, right? And so your chin is here, and the thing is here, and they have you bite like this. And so you do that, they adjust your forehead thing, you know, it's a very awkward machine for everyone. She's like, move your forehead like forward, and you're just like this, and then she's like, relax your shoulders. Of course, they put the uterine protection device, what's that called? Anti-X-ray bib on you. I don't know what it is in either language, so forgive me. But yeah, they got that. They put it on. They stick you in the thing and adjust you. And then she was like, okay, we're going to take the photo. And so what surprised me was that she didn't like go out when she started the machine. Like I mentioned in the States, like they set up the thing and they run out to flip the switch, which is on the outside of the room, to like actually start the x-ray emission, and the door is closed and stuff, right? But she started the machine and she was still in the room, like writing on the thing, and I was like, is this okay for you? Like, you're not wearing the uterine protection device. But anyways, yeah, so the machine started doing its thing. It's whirring, it's spinning, it's humming. And then after maybe like 10-ish seconds, then she leaves the room and closes the door, and I'm like, oh, it was just setting up. Like, now the x-ray emissions will begin. And so, yeah, she went out the room and closed the door. And then for the next maybe 10-ish seconds, the machine continued whirring and making its noise and spinning around my head. And I was like, you know, I hope it's not shooting transparent poison into my skull, but you never know. So anyways, I lived, I didn't die. So clearly it was just taking x-rays and not, you know, threatening my life. So when it stopped, she came back in the room and she was like, okay, when the doctor, he's gonna come check them later, so let's go get started. So she takes me back into the original room where the cleaning happens, which is just like, you know, a dentist chair in the States. They're nice and cushy and long. They've got buttons that, you know, make the seat recline, and the opposite of recline, not accline, not decline, go up and down. So it's really normal. One of the main differences that I really like, like I'd be having fun every time I come into the dentist's office with this little machine. So in the States, we use the little like suction straws, and you like put that in your mouth, and then the dentist will have a different straw that like shoots water out, and you guys work in unison to like make sure that you don't swallow any like, you know, toxic fluoride and stuff, right? And usually we just have, I told the dentist lady, because she saw me filming, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just so intrigued, like, you know, I'm not from here, it's very different where I'm from. And so I was telling her, we just like hold the little like the suction stick, the aspirating wand, and we're in control of when we need to like, you know, aspirate liquid from our mouth, right? And she's like, oh, she's like, you mean this thing? And she picked it up. It turns out it was right next to my head. I didn't see it. But she's like, oh, we just kakeru dake. And so instead of us holding it here in Japan, they shape it into a little like hook. And then when they're working on your mouth, they just like place it into the mouth. So it just like stays there via gravity and suctions wherever it may be. So you don't have control of it. They just kakeru. Like, that's how it sits in your mouth. like that the whole time. So that was different. But you don't need so much control because as I was getting to, and then went on a small tangent, the machine that I really like is this, like, calling it a gargle machine sounds so dumb, but that's what I'm going to do because I don't know the words and my English ability is rapidly declining. So there's a little sink with a paper cup on it, right? And this I took videos of so you can see it. And what happens is, like, so the cup fills automatically with water when in the little, like, faucet thing. And so every time they want you to rinse your mouth, they'll, like, raise the seat up and they'll be like, okay, ugaite kudasai. Ukagaite. I don't remember. Ugaite kudasai. And so you get up and you take the little paper cup, which is full of water, and you obviously, like, gargle with it. So you put some water in your mouth and then you spit it out into the little sink. It's got a drain and everything. But then the fun thing is, like, when the cup is empty, when you're ready, you put it back on its little stand and it fills with water automatically. Like, it is the joy of my life. You stick it on the stand and it fills up automatically to its little line. It will never overfill. It doesn't underfill. It's perfect. And then after the cup finishes filling with water, like, you see water shoots out of a little spout in the sink part to, like, rinse the bowl after you spit. It's just Japan at its most technologically advanced. I am so excited. I love this. So the little gargle machine is there. Gargle machine. Sink. Why don't I just call it sink? The little sink is there. And so that is fun. I enjoy using that. So every time, you know, in the middle of a procedure, when they finish a procedure, they'll, like, raise the seat and be like, okay, ugaite kudasai. And so you gargle a few times and get to use the little sink during your checkup. Oh, I should also mention, yeah, I just made an appointment for a normal cleaning. I didn't have any issues, but I don't want any issues. And so 1.5 years was long enough for me to move and, you know, come and get checked out. So I just made an appointment for Solji, normal Solji. So, okay, that's what's going on in the office. So when we begin, she puts the little, like, bib on you, which is not as small as in America. Like, literally the bib in America is the size of a napkin. It's literally, like, this big. And it's attached with the chain, which I find very interesting. But here, they have a much larger napkin that covers a more reasonable surface area. That's probably, like, this big. And they put that on you. And then they lay you back. And they cover your eyes with a towel. But not, like, 100%, because that, I'm sure that probably freaks people out. They just cover it enough so that the super bright light above, like, isn't shining in your eyes, which is really nice. I never really thought about that. How do they shield our eyes in the States? I don't really remember. I feel like the light in the States, like, has a shield on it already, like some sort of blue or something filter on it so that it's not so painful for our eyes. And then, like, somehow that's working. I have no idea. But anyways, they just got the naked bright light above you, so they put a towel in your eye so they don't blind you. And then, you know, somebody ends up going to court. So that was nice. That was pleasant. I could still see under, like, the towel is, like, here, and then since you're laying down, you can kind of see under. So I could see the screen in front of me, which they had my x-rays up on. So I, of course, took videos. And she was amused watching me take videos of everything. She was just waiting, allowing me to film at one point. And I was like, oh, were you waiting for me? And she's like, no, daijoubu, like, go ahead. So yeah, I could see, like, the wall in front of me, and I could see, like, part of her, like, hands in my mouth. So not completely blinded, but enough so that, of course, I wasn't being blinded by the light. So first thing she did was last thing I want to talk about before the actual procedure is their little tray. So I never paid too much attention to it in the States. Maybe that's because it wasn't interesting. It's probably that, and not because it just wasn't there or not as large. But the little tray that the technician uses is, like, so neat and tidy and interesting, very intriguing. It's got all the little drill heads on there, and everything's like lined up really neatly and organized, like stuff I couldn't even tell you what it was if I tried. Lots of little canisters and but yeah, the drill heads all, like, arranged in a line was the most interesting to me. And then she had the fluoride in a little like, drop on the side, and all of her little I don't even know what you would call them, the tools that have the tools that she's using, like, during the procedures are, like, kind of one step below the surface of her little cart. And so those would like hook onto the front, and she would switch out the heads and use those. That wasn't helpful. I have a video. Y'all have to figure it out. I'm so sorry. So that's what the cart was like, and it was really interesting because it was just so neatly organized and like there was so much happening. So I liked that. And okay, now we begin. So she put the towel on my face. I'm laying down, and she's like, "Okay, we're going to do the Solji." I think she started with Solji cleaning. So she takes a little drill, and we talked about it later. It's not actually a drill. She was like, "Oh, do you guys use this in States?" And it's the little like silver hook with the very, very fine head, and like it shoots water out of it. And I was like, yeah, I recognize that. But I never knew what it was. I guess I never asked in the States. I just assumed it was a teeny tiny drill because it makes a teeny tiny whirring sound, like so small. So small that I'm not sure if the sound is whirring or if the sound is like the water gushing out. And it turns out it's a sonic drill. So the way it cleans is obviously it like shoots the water out, but also like there are teeny tiny vibrations, super fast vibrations that I guess break up gunk, and that along with the water, like, you know, is enough to clean your teeth. So she went through with the drill, and one thing that's interesting is they actually don't brush your teeth here at the end. So I think, do they brush your teeth in the States? They brush your teeth in the States, but not with a normal toothbrush. They use like the really fancy like turning drill to clean your teeth. They just put like fluoride on it or toothpaste. I don't know what it is, the special like dental toothpaste that's like really grainy, or the fluoride, and they go through with the electric like spinning brush, and they like, it's like polishing your teeth, but they're using like toothpaste or something. So anyways, they always do that in the States, but they didn't do that here. So I actually feel like I want to brush my teeth because even though my teeth are clean, I feel like my mouth as a whole like is not, because, you know, they didn't get the tongue. If the tongue isn't like, hasn't been brushed, and you don't feel that overwhelmingly minty like presence in your mouth, then I just feel like my mouth isn't yet clean. So I actually think I want to brush my teeth now after coming home, even though, you know, my teeth haven't been cleaned. So anyway, she started with the Sonicator cleaning thing, and that's when they go through all, oh my gosh, that was second. I lied. First step was to go through, she was like, Shinsa shimasu, or Kensa, I don't remember the word they used. They're both the same to me. And so they take the actual hook, right? The metal hook that I think a lot of people are afraid of because they have sensitive gums and it hurts them. So she goes through with the hook in her little mirror, and she basically like touches all of the areas around my gums and my teeth. I think she's just checking for sensitivity, or maybe she's also looking for, I don't know, anything sus. That's what she's looking for with her little hook. Okay, so the Shinsa part, Kensa is obviously to just check for like periodontal disease. So they take their little hook and they stick it in your gums, like to see how far down your gums go. Like, look, they put the hook between your gums and your teeth and like check for how deep it goes. And like, you know, periodontal disease, one of the characteristics is like you have receding gums, or just like, I don't know. I don't understand too well. I didn't go to dental school, but basically the deeper it goes, the worse, like the more progressive the periodontal disease. So you want numbers that aren't very low. So whenever I get a peek at her chart when she's done, you get numbers like 0, -1, -2, -3. And then she'll tell you afterward, like, oh, if things are good or not. So she told me, Nanimo warukunai, like, it's fine. And I think my numbers are close to like -2 and -3. So I don't know exactly what that means, but apparently -3 is not that deep, even though it sounds pretty bad. But she said everything's fine. So that is how the Shinsa went. So she goes through and she touches all the areas. Nothing hurts because my mouth is in good condition, even though I don't go to the dentist for regular checkups. And so she touches everywhere with the hook. She's like, everything's good. Okay, now we're going to do Solji. Now she goes in with her little Sonicator hook that shoots water out, and she goes through and traces basically all of my gums in the front and the back. She does the top first, and when needed, she uses a little water hose. So we have the aspirating hose, right? But also there's the water hose. So she goes in with the water hose, and after she does the top, she's like, okay, go ahead and ugaite kudasai. And so she raises the seat, and I get to use the little like cup that I told you I love. And then she lowers it back down, puts the thing back on my head, and then finishes Solji for the bottom half. And one thing that's like very distinctly Japanese that they even do at the dentist is they tell you everything that they're about to do. Like, before they do it, right? So she'll be like, okay, soji shimasu, and then she goes in and she did the top of my mouth, right? And then she's like, okay, ugaite kudasai, and then raise the seat, and I do that, and she goes back down. She's like, okay, taoru maku kudasai, and it's not the word she used, but I don't know the word. So taoru something kudasai, taoru something shimasu, puts a towel on my face, and then she's like, no, shita ni ikimasu. So now I'm gonna do the bottom, and then she goes through and she does the soji with her little sonic hook thing. And then when she's done, or even when she goes through with the water, she's like, okay, miso iremasu, to let me know so I don't get too surprised, like if water squirts out or something, it hits me in a weird place. I don't know. It's just very Japanese here. That's like a very common thing. So even when you ride the bus, like the bus driver will tell you like when he's about to change directions or like the speed of the bus is about to change. So before they turn, they're like migi magarimasu or like tomarimasu right before they stop the bus. Or when they're at a stop and they're gonna go, they're gonna say ugokimasu before they go, like so nobody gets surprised and like, you know, ends up falling down. So it's just very a Japanese trait, a Japanese thing that I think is just they do it out of politeness. And yeah, so even at the dentist, shita ni ikimasu, I'm gonna do the bottom now. Or sagarimasu, I'm gonna lower the chair. It's just very nice. So they do that at the dentist, and that makes me happy or just makes me smile because it's very interesting. So when she finishes the soji, then what does she do? She was like, okay, now the next step was it flossing? I think she did the floss afterward. Maybe we flossed. Let's pretend it was flossing. There were only 4 steps. Shinsa, kensa, whatever, soji, furosu, and then haomigakimasu, like they put the fluoride on with a little drill, and I can't remember which came last. So we're gonna say flossing was 3rd. So she goes in with the floss and she starts flossing my teeth, and she's like, oh, I mean, she didn't tell me this, but the doctor I think became available, and the doctor's the one who needs to like check my x-ray and make sure I don't have any cavities. So when he became available, she stopped mid-floss and she said, okay, the doctor's coming, so we're gonna do that now. And I'm like, okay. So the doctor comes in and he's like, konnichiwa, and I'm hello. And he says, yoroshiku onegai shimasu, and then I'm just like stunned, so I forgot to say it back. Just very confused. And then so we're going down, lowering the chair, and I hear with the assistant, she says to him, she's like, oh, Nihongo metakucha umai desu yo. And I'm like always kind of startled because like that sets really high expectations, and she doesn't know that there were some words she was saying that I did not understand. And so I'm just like, Chigaimasu, please don't tell him that, because then he's gonna like start giving me a dissertation I'm not gonna understand. So I was like, ha ha ha. Please use simple Japanese. But it was okay. He didn't have to say much. So basically he lowered me to put the towel back on my face, and he was like, okay, hajimarimasu. And so he basically goes through with his little, he's got a drying tool and maybe a hook, a mirror. I don't know. He doesn't have 3 hands. Somebody's doing something. He's looking, he's checks on my teeth for cavities. I didn't even see him really look at the x-ray. He must have done that while I was like laying down blindfolded. But yeah, he goes through, he checks. No cavities, because the check only took, it didn't even take a minute, y'all. It maybe took 60 seconds. Maybe. And then I hear him like, you know, whisper into the dentist like, daijoubu desu, everything's okay. And so yeah, they lower me back up, and he's like, okay, you know, ganbatte kudasai, like everything's fine. And so that was very quick. Nothing happened. I guess I have no cavities. They didn't say anything. Must have been weird on my x-ray because they didn't even talk about it. So laid me back down and said, okay, mata furosu shimasu. I'm like, all right, I guess mushiba ga nai to koto desu yo ne. And she's like, yeah, daijoubu. And so basically I was like, so that means I don't have any cavities? And she was like, yeah, you good. And so then she finishes flossing, and then she raised me up. She's like, ugaite kudasai. And I'm like, wakarimashita. So use that. And then lastly, she's like, haomigakimasu. And she uses the little like drill. It's not a drill. I don't know why it's the only word I know. Usually when stuff spins really fast in a circle, it makes a whirring sound. It's on like a metal shaft. To me, that equals drill. But it's not a drill. So the head is made out of, it looks like rubber or like silicone. And in the video I took, it's green. So maybe I'll show that again. But they put the fluoride on that. I'm assuming it's fluoride, because when I said fluoride in English, she didn't correct me. So maybe it's fluoride. And so, yeah, she's like, haomigakimasu. And so she puts that on the little green rubber thing and basically polishes each one of my teeth. Is it working though? Are they polished? Yeah, I'm not really sure. Lately, my teeth, the colors are not doing exactly what I want them to do, so I'm considering whitening them. But that's beyond the point of this video, so we're not gonna talk about that. Anyways, she polished my teeth. The fluoride, you know, I do like that in the States. So here they just had whatever, right? I wasn't asked, what flavor do I want? I don't even know if they have different flavors. I don't even remember what it tasted like. It was normal. I don't even think it really got on my tongue, like the way they do it so like tanany, very just carefully in Japan. Like in the States, they'd be sloshing it on. It gets all on your tongue and all over the place. Is dripping down. The little bib is being tested to the max. Like it's really a not the most like carefully done process, but it's fine because it tastes good, right? So in the States, I always ask you, they're like, oh, what flavor do you want for your toothpaste and what flavor do you want for your fluoride? So you get to pick 2 different flavors. Actually, I don't know if this is an always thing. This is my experience. Maybe I've been living a bougie life. I don't know, but my dentist be asking what flavor fluoride do I want, and I look forward to that because, you know, mint is not really my cup of tea, so I appreciate when they have fruity flavors like cherry and stuff. I just always pick a cherry. Whatever the red flavor is, that's the one I want. And so usually you can pick your flavors like strawberry or grape or whatever, and it's a really like just enjoyable experience. But here, I don't know if they have flavors. I don't even know what flavor it was. It wasn't mint because my mouth right now doesn't taste minty. So whatever it was is just what it is. So yeah, you don't get to pick a flavor here, which is zannen, but it didn't taste bad, so, you know, what more can you ask for? So, yeah, she polished my teeth, and then she was like, okay, ugai kudasai, like, otsukare-sama desu, and I was like, oh, we're done. Like, that was really fast, and y'all didn't brush the teeth. I think the reason I was confused is because I think the first time I went, they did brush my teeth with, like, an actual toothbrush, because I remember that being, like, a small culture shock moment. I was like, oh, they brush your teeth with a toothbrush here. That's weird. But it didn't happen this time. So either that happened the first time I went, or I've probably been to the dentist one more time at some, I don't know, when I lived in a different place and they used a toothbrush. Either way, it was definitely in Japan because I've never brushed my teeth with a toothbrush in America. I would just be like, what are you doing? They would be like, what am I doing? It would be a very weird occurrence for the both of us. So somebody's brushing your teeth with toothbrushes in Japan, but like after the procedure, but that did not happen today. Hence why I feel comfortable brushing my teeth now, which I will do. But that was it. That was the whole experience. And when you're done, you walk back to the front and you sit down for literally 10 seconds, and then they call you to go and pay. And so they give you your receipt, which I took a photo of, so I'll like show it, but I actually have it in my hand as well. So it's got all your information on it, the name and stuff. I obviously covered up because I don't like editing. And so today it only cost, I don't know, it cost 3,870 yen. So that's because I also did the x-ray today. So I don't know how much the x-ray itself was. It's probably written here, but I like don't read fast enough to be able to figure that out now that I'm filming. So yeah, y'all can read it if y'all practicing kanji and you want to know. It might have like rentoge written on here somewhere, or maybe it doesn't. But usually the normal cleaning, I feel like last time I went it was under 3,000, maybe like 2,000 something. But today, because I did the x-ray, it was more expensive. But the real cost was 12,000 1,2,900, as you can see here. But because the way Japanese health insurance works, you only pay 30%. Where's that written? Here. So we're only responsible for 30%, and then the government pays the other 70%. So no, it was not 1,2,900. Today was only under 4,000. So that's what I had to pay up front. And then you pay, and they give you your card. What did I hand over in the beginning? I handed over my Hokensho, so the insurance card, and my patient card for this dentist. And then they give them both back with the receipt, and they give you your change, and they're like, okay, see you next time. The first time, they actually tried to make me an appointment for next time, and then I just like ignored it when the time came. So maybe that's why this time she's like, we'll let you call us because I'm not gonna come in 3 months. they're like, oh, when the nurse was telling me, she's like, we actually recommend you come once every 3 months. After telling me it's been Hisashi Buri, aka 18 months. And so she's like, the next time would probably be good to come in November, but I go home at the end of the year, so I'm probably not even going to be here, which is why I was just like, okay, nodding, even though I know I'm not going to come for another maybe 11 months. So anyways, that was that. Then I went home. So the whole procedure with the x-ray and everything, less than 40 minutes. There was no waiting. This was all like 40 minutes of just like full procedure, besides like the minute that I walked in and like 2 minutes that I paid and got my card back. So overall, very enjoyable experience. The nurse was very nice. They listened to me. They answered my questions because I'm just curious and I like talking to Japanese people and learning things. Even in America, I'd be asking questions at the dentist. Like, I just like asking questions. And so they're very kind, and yeah, they were nice to interact with. So that is all. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, now I'm going to go to lab, and today I'm going to go to Kumanocha for the first time with Christina, and we're going to order the cute little like cloud cake set thing. So maybe I'll make a video on that, maybe I won't, but yeah, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Mata ne! Bye!